Cancer. Cancer is emotion in astrology. And although Pisces and Scorpio are connected to emotion because they're water signs, Cancer is specifically about personal emotional experiences. So if you were born under the zodiac sign Cancer, then you live your life from your heart. And this can manifest either you continuously trying to protect your heart, or it can manifest as like you overpouring and overgiving. You feel what I'm saying? But essentially though, if you do choose to pursue refinement and essentially development of this energy, then the end goal will be learning in a sense to become both a father and a mother, and not only for yourself but also for others. Because essentially, Cancer, it deals with nourishment and the sustaining of things. It's very much a feminine energy. It's all about nourishing, multiplying, even, you can say. You feel what I'm saying? Essentially, it's the soil in which the seed grows, but it's also the seed, the water, the soil, the sun. It's all of these different things. And this is because, like I've said before, Cancer is all about nourishing and sustaining things. You feel me? I hope that makes sense. And not only that, but like Cancer, through its ruling planet, the moon, it does govern vegetation. So there is a connection between plants, the moon, also plants and Cancer, which just lets us know that the more you study plants, the more you'll get into understanding of this energy. You feel what I'm saying? Now, Cancer, I should mention, is also connected to memory, but it's also connected to the subconscious mind. you know but when I say memory, I'm not just talking about remembering past experiences. I'm also speaking about DNA. You feel what I'm saying? Like the memory of our ancestors. Because Cancer is the familial sign, and it does deal with our ancestors. It deals with the things we've inherited from our family. Things like qualities, temperaments, but also our traditions and our cultures as well. These all fall under the frequency of Cancer. Essentially, if you are a Cancer, it's important to understand that you operate from the frequency of universal wellness, universal welfare, meaning you care for the wellness and welfare of others, and you have this selfless ability to want better for others beyond yourself. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And so essentially, I think, to boil it down, because it is a maternal energy, you can think like the Cancer's selfless, loving nature can be expressed through the sacrifices, that mothers and fathers make for their children. That sacrificial energy is very Cancerian. You feel what I'm saying? That unconditional love and things like that. Now, as a result, of all of these things, when it comes to, the qualities and personality traits that are connected to the sign Cancer, they definitely would reflect someone who is like a great mother. You feel what I'm saying? So think a great mother and imagine the qualities it would take in order for someone to be quote unquote very motherly, nurturing, caring, things like that. You know what I'm saying? But beyond that though, this is also like nurses, caregivers, counselors, social workers, and so on. Essentially, it's anyone and everyone who needs to utilize their heart chakra or their heart center in their occupation. You feel what I'm saying? Their occupation pulls a lot from their heart. You feel what I'm saying? Essentially, though, it's very important to understand Cancer's deep connection to domestic life. You feel what I'm saying? When I say domestic life, I'm talking the familial life, like our familial situation, home, the private life, period, in general. But yes, domestic life. And it's very important to understand that a lot of the times cancers lead a domestic life, meaning that the life that they lead, one way or another, um, makes family and home a central thing. You feel what I'm saying? And that's not to say that just because you're a Cancer, you have a happy family, and like a loving home, but it could be the opposite for sure, quite the contrary at times. But the point though is, one way or another, you're gonna make like your life purpose, or rather I should say family and the home life, one way or another are going to be a centering frequency in your life. You know what I'm saying? And it's like if you don't have that family that provides that belongingness, that love, and everything like that, then you will find yourself pursuing and seeking it. You feel what I'm saying? One way or another. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, and then even like when it comes to home, like that home aspect, it's interesting because Cancer is not just the outer home in which you live in, but it's also the inner home, in which like when you quiet your mind, or it's the chaos or the peace that's inside of you. You know what I'm saying? That's very much Cancerian as well. So, when it comes to their personality, they are very personal, meaning they can be attentive, they're good listeners, they make you feel received, etc. They're also attentive, right? Like they pay a lot of attention, they're kind, considerate, shy, reserved, and they're also very loyal. But the thing about the loyalty with Cancers is sometimes their loyalty may be like misplaced. And what I mean by this is also sometimes their loyalty may be not to a person, but to an idea or a belief that's outdated. You know, um, yeah, that's outdated. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like there's a need to release and relinquish that energy. Um, when it comes to forgiving, right? Because forgiveness is something that Cancers are capable of doing, but they just never forget. And it's because, remember, Cancer, it deals with the memory. And the reason for this is because an experience that at the time of it getting registered had intense emotions connected to it creates a greater impression on the mind, so it's easier to remember. Feel me? Like we remember emotional things much more easily than unemotional things. You feel what I'm saying? And Cancer being the sign of emotions, a lot of the times when they experience and go through things, there's a lot of emotion infused, emotion charged in that. You feel what I'm saying? So they have really good memories. You feel what I'm saying? For sure, for sure. And another thing I guess I can say about these individuals is they're very tenacious. When I say tenacious, I'm speaking about the fact that they, at an emotional level, can endure a lot. They can go through a multitude of things and keep it pushing, keep it going. You feel what I'm saying? And it's important for me to mention this also. Cancers are not aggressive. They're rather passive. They don't like confrontations and issues and stuff like that. They'd rather avoid that. You feel what I'm saying? And their energy is more like, for to talk war, you want to think like the person, either the nurse, right, who's an active duty nurse, she's on the field, nursing, he, she, whatever, nursing the soldiers, or you can also think like a chef or cook, that aspect. So they're not aggressive, they're not fighters, but they do have strength and a capacity to endure and go through a lot. You feel what I'm saying? And go through a lot. They're very tenacious, but also they're very sensitive, very touchy. Things could get to them much more easily than others. You feel what I'm saying? That is the downside. But essentially, though, when it comes like the everything that a Cancer goes through, all the challenges and everything like that, first and foremost, are usually connected to the domestic life, one way or another. And it's like the thing about these experiences is, as a Cancer, If you pay attention to these frequencies and energies that you find yourself submerged in, and these are like frequencies of family, domestic life, learning to be relatable, relating with relatives, right? Um, but yeah, building emotional relationships with others, stuff like that. All these lessons, if you really allow yourself to grow and integrate with them, they're gonna lead to you gaining mastery over the domestic life. You know what I'm saying? Like home life, family life, and things like that. So that's the area in which you are meant to expand and in which you are meant to learn in as a Cancer. You know what I'm saying? And I want to also mention this. My concern with astrology has always been practical and also alchemical. I say that to explain that, like, you don't really need to be a Cancer yourself to benefit from this information. You just simply need to realize that we all have a familial situation, a domestic life. We all are forced. Not, I don't want to say forced, but life makes us all go through experiences where we have to make personal connections and relationships with others. You know what I'm saying? We all have a home life. We all have people that we are familially connected to, and this doesn't have to be blood. Just you're so around them all the time. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we all are subjected to these experiences, and so you can use this knowledge to realize, like, yo, I should probably cultivate and develop that area, or yo, I've noticed that this area, this Cancerian familial energy, is very much leveraged for me, so maybe I should take advantage of it. You feel what I'm saying? But point being, though, is we all have one way or another an expression of that Cancerian familial, home life, domestic, private, inner world energy. You feel what I'm saying? So where Cancer is in your chart, that's where you want to look to gain a deeper awareness of where you should invest more emotional energy. Start exercising care, concern, and nourish that area also. And I also want to say, the thing about that is, this area, wherever your Cancer is, like whatever house, this is the area where, if you if you get involved with the things regarding that area, one way or another, you will get closer ancestrally or familially. Meaning, like, that's where your ancestors will speak to you. You know what I'm saying? That's where you can start unlocking your DNA in the Cancer house. You know what I'm saying? And of course, it gets deeper because, like, the moon is important too and things like that. But that aside, this is the video for Cancers. And also, definitely tap in if you haven't gotten a full reading, if you haven't gotten your chart looked at by an astrologer slash alchemist. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't just do astrology, but also integrate alchemy with it. Then you can definitely hit me up, message me, and I'd be more than happy to assist you. Other than that, you guys have a beautiful day. Peace.